Okay, tell me some of the personal stories that you've been involved in, just to get our attention on this, and then I want to get down to some of the ones that have actually been tracked and the data is absolutely solid in some of the most professional books we've got.
Yeah, I think that's a good insight, what you just said. People are impressed with evidence, but when I've been doing this for a long time with the NDEs, and sometimes people are more than the evidence. They're impressed with the heartwarming or the tear-jerking type NDE stories. Now, here's one of them. I met a lady who had just given birth to her third child, and she has not seen this child yet because they're still in surgery, and they're taking the child, and she said, all of a sudden, boom, I'm up above my body. And it wasn't a detailed NDE. She looked down, she said, that looks like it might be me. But then again, I'm where my consciousness is, so I think I'm up here in the lights, I'm up here by the ceiling. And she started to say, well, I went on a little bit further from there, and I stopped her and I said, let me ask you a question. I said, I've been led to believe that the strongest biological tie in the universe is between a mother and her child. And she said, I'll buy that. And I said, okay, you've got some other children. Yes. You haven't seen this baby yet. Nobody's come up and laid the baby in your arms. No. You'd like to see your baby, wouldn't you? Absolutely. So you're in another realm and you are caught up with the colors and the music and the sound, and it just captivated you. Did you want to come back to meet your new child? And you would think I had said something to her that kind of embarrassed her, because when I said that, she looked down and she said, no, I did not want to come back. And I said, look, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but let me just drive this point home. You would rather have stayed where you were than come back to see your baby for the first time. And she said, I did. I wanted people to leave me alone and let me go. Now, that was an amazing insight. A couple other times, well, I know another case where a woman was delivering a baby and she was up above her body, she said, and it was only seconds. And I said, well, okay, so it was only seconds. What kind of an effect did it have on you? And that one said, she said, well, I know I was going somewhere else. I know if time had moved on, I'd have been heading up, because that was my move from my delivery up to the ceiling. She said, ever since then, she said, I've not had the slightest fear of death, because I know I'm going to another place. Then two guys, one who drowned in a pool and one who was in a really bad car accident. In both cases, they had near-death experiences. And the first one, he lived out west in a real icy part of the country. Actually, it was in Idaho. And he said, I was walking down the street recently, and my feet started to go out from under me in the wintertime, and I had this sick feeling we sometimes have that my back of my head is going to end up on the cement behind me. And before he could even, he'd already slipped. And the first thought was, oh no. The second thought was, don't worry, you're going right back to the place you were at before. Now, how conscious do you have to be that your first thought is, uh-oh, second thought, hey, that's cool. And the other one was in the car accident. I said to the fellow later, I've gotten to know that guy really, really well, and I was saying to him, hey, what about this and that about life? And he's getting older, and he said to me, not a problem. All I will do is go back to the light again. He's a committed Christian. He said, all I would do is go back to the light. And I thought, is it that prominent when people have had these that their very first thought is, here it comes, and I'm ready. So that otherworldliness is pervasive.